C'est pas que nous, je pense, on en fait pour tout le monde, beaucoup de monde.
Prabhupada Paramahansa, Parvadakacharya, Asatara Sisi Mother's Divine Grace, Sisi Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Jai Prabhupada Paramahansa, Parvadakacharya, Asatara Sisi Mother's Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Shri Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopina Shama Kund Radha Kund Guru Govardhana Ki Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Gangamayi Ki Jai Yamunamayi Ki Jai Tulasi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Nitai Go Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories, Shri Shri Guru and Govanda, glories to Shri Prabhupada, and Om Vishnu Vaya Krishna Vistaya Putave, Shri Sati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane, Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Pachani, Nirvi Sesa Sandipari Vaskajade Satani. And Chakopad Tirudashaki, Vasanduga Deva Chapati, Tanam Bhavani, Vyo Vaishnavi, Vyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So I recognize most everyone here for the Sunday feast, and here for the, is this my fourth class, I guess, since coming here? I think maybe fourth class. Maybe fifth class.
56 now. 56.
Yes, you would know.
I know.
He knows. All right. So today I'll do my best. Please try to talk a little bit about Srila Prabhupada in France. I can't say much about here because, unfortunately, due to my own situation, I didn't come to New Mayapur with Srila Prabhupada. And when he was here in 1975, I think Upendra was here at that time with Srila Prabhupada. And he stayed in a different room, I think, at that time, Srila Prabhupada, right? And then he came again in 1966. Harisari Prabhu was his servant at that time. I do know one thing from my god sister, also was my wife until she left this world back in 2010, Omekala Devi. She was here at that time. When they bought this place, I think it was in 1974, and they shipped devotees mostly from England, about a dozen devotees. And the place was overrun with different people just crashing in this building. So there was a lot of cleaning up to do, lots of cleaning up. Everywhere was very messy, very dirty, as she told me later. So they sent so many men, and they sent one Mataji, that was her. So she was cooking for everyone at that time, back over 50 years ago. And then finally in 1975, she was also here when Srila Prabhupada came. And like I say, I think she said, I think Upendra was her servant at that time. Or maybe Kishori was cooking. Anyway, she asked for help and asked Omekala to help. She wanted her to make chapatis. And everyone was young at that time. She was barely 20 years old, 21 years old. And they told her to go to town. Of course, town, I don't know how far away town is, not close, to go to nearby town to get chapati flour. There was no chapati flour anywhere. I don't believe there was any chapati flour anywhere in Europe, but to speak of in France. It's certainly, chapati flour is a special type of wheat flour that's very finely ground, so it makes nice chapatis. Anyway, she couldn't get any such thing. She just got whole wheat flour. And like most of us at that time, she didn't want to say anything, just wanted to do her service, opportunity to serve Srila Prabhupada. So she's there in the kitchen and she makes chapati dough, everything. Rolls out the chapatis and she makes chapatis with the flour that was available. So Prabhupada, of course, as I mentioned, took massage around 11:30 in the morning. So after massage, he would bathe, dress, put on his tilak, say his second Gayatri mantra of the day. By the time he was done that, lunch should be ready. As it was, lunch was ready a little bit early. So the plates all made up. And she makes a chapati. Makes one chapati, two chapatis. Puts it on the plate. And Upendra says, you bring the plate up. Sometimes the servants, other people were around. You would give them the opportunity. Not that you didn't want to do your service. Everyone was eager to get Prabhupada's personal association, be able to go in his room. Of course, she wasn't so eager. She already figured she had failed. She made these chapatis without chapati flour. So she was concerned about that. And Petra says, you could bring up the plate. She said, no, I want to bring up the plate. And she was afraid to see Prabhupada. Brenda said, don't worry. Prabhupada, he's in the bathroom. He's bathing in the bathroom. She said, you can just go up, bring the plate up, put it down on his desk. So she said, okay. So she has the plate. She goes to Prabhupada's room and she opens the door. She has a plate in her hands. And as soon as she opens the door, Prabhupada is walking out of the bathroom. He has his gamcha. Always had gamcha on, minimum. And she's just standing there frozen. And Prabhupada looked at her. And he said, so you couldn't get chapati flour? No one said, she never said a word to anyone. I told you, Prabhupada, he always knew. He knew what was going on there in your mind. He said, you couldn't get chapati flour? And before she could respond, he said, that's okay. He said, don't worry. He said, put the plate down. So that was her service there with Srila Prabhupada at that time. Here, right here, New Mayapur. So as I said, I was with Srila Prabhupada at Rulasur. Is that how you say Rulasur?
Yeah, almost.
The temple there. I never told you, Prabhupada said to me once, he knew how to speak French. Any of you knew Prabhupada spoke French? Yeah. He went, foo, foo, foo. That was his little joke on French language. Everything to him sounded like foo, foo, foo. We have the video, huh? When Prabhupada was here talking to the Cardinal Danielo. That was a very interesting conversation. If you watch that. And nothing worked out properly at that time. 2 times Prabhupada was here, and also, he's not here, but in Paris, and he went to the mayor's mansion. This is that what it was called, where the mayor was when he greeted the mayor. That was something also very interesting. When he went there with a few of the devotees. What was the devotee's name who spoke French there? No, not Guru Garanga, the other one. He's in New York City now. Yogeshwar, yes, Yogeshwar. So he was there. He was translating. Anyway, the whole recording, none of it turned out. Nothing turned out during that recording. And when they came, everyone came, and the devotees from Paris were there. Prabhupada's entourage was there. Bhagavan was there. Hamsaduta was there. You see that one photograph in the one hall. We're all standing there with Srila Prabhupada together. But when they came, now Prabhupada didn't generally go out to see anyone. When you do that, you're taking the inferior position. You go see someone. The person you're seeing, they're in a superior position. Well, Prabhupada never assumed that. He'd like people to come and see him. But he accepted that invitation, and he went there. And one of the devotees, I believe one of the Montages in Paris, they had made a garland for Prabhupada to give to the mayor, to put on the mayor. So she handed the garland. Prabhupada didn't have a garland on at the time, and she handed the garland to Srila Prabhupada, thinking he would put it on the mayor. And Prabhupada took it and he put it on himself. That was the beginning. That was the beginning of that meeting with the mayor. And then they had to hurry up. They fashioned in the next 15 minutes or so. They had some flowers. They made this tiny little garland, they hung around the mayor. But Prabhupada put it on himself. I never saw Prabhupada. In the airplane, he would put the garland that he had accepted from where he was leaving. He would do that. I would get the garlands from up above. There might be 4 or 5 garlands, and I'd bring them down, and he'd pick the one he wanted. And then he would tell us, also we would put garlands on, so when we came out into the airport, we all looked like very nicely dressed and decorated Vaishnavas. And that was the system. Looked like a Vaishnava. So then, of course, the mayor spoke, and Prabhupada spoke, and whenever he had someone in government, or a teacher, professor, he'd always tell them about their responsibility. Your business is to teach people, not this body. This is the main business, to take care of them properly, so that they can render service to the Lord. Prabhupada didn't just make nice. No, he would tell them responsibility. Those in charge, you have a responsibility. I remember when we were in Perth, Australia, I told you, Prabhupada was just staying there for a week. They had fine people come to see Srila Prabhupada. One young teacher came. He was a very nice man. And he came and he sat before Srila Prabhupada. And he was a teacher. He was an instructor. And Prabhupada was saying to him, in society, he said, no first-class men in society. Because first-class men, they teach you the purpose of human life. This is their duty. The duty of anyone to teach you the business. Well, why are we here? Why do we have this human form of life? To become God conscious, prepare for the next life. So he was teaching like that. He said, but there's no first-class men. He said, everyone third class. Then he said, not even third class, fourth class. He said, everyone fourth class. You'll see that in books, probably saying. Then he looked at him and he said, here, not even fourth, everyone fifth class, he said. And he looked at him and he said, and you're a fifth class man. And Paramahamsa and myself, we were sitting by the side. Of course, Prabhupada always understood who he was speaking to, what they could accept, what they couldn't accept. He knew his audience, whether it was 100 people or one person. He knew the audience. So this man, he said, Prabhupada, myself, and Paramahamsa were sitting at the side. Oh, Prabhupada's so heavy. And he was. It was his business. And the man said, well, how do I become first class? So he was submissive. He's asked, how do I be first class? Prabhupada said, you have to hear from the first class man. And then he said, well, who is first class? And Prabhupada pointed to myself and Paramahamsa, said, they're first class men. And we're poking one another, laughing. Prabhupada called us first class. You wouldn't say you should hear from me. No, that's not humility. He said, you hear from them. So we were very happy, Prabhupada. Again, his sense of humor. And we considered it, Prabhupada made a little joke there, saying, hear from these boys, they're first class men. So here in Paris, same thing. Prabhupada spoke, you have a duty with the civilization, not to ruin it, We have a duty to teach them what to do, how to live their lives, how to live peacefully together, not kill one another. Kill one another, kill the animals, just killing. And then it went back and forth, and of course, he was a politician after all, the man, so he, it didn't turn into a shouting match or anything. And then they had this big spread on the table, all kinds of foodstuffs and everything. And Prabhupada looked at his disciples. He said, you can eat the fruits. You can eat fruit, because we were all ready to dive into the bread and the cheese, all kinds of things that were sitting there, He said, you can eat the fruit. You can always eat fruit. So that's what we did at that time. Then the other big one, which was also on video, again, and I said, my tape recorder did not work for that conversation with Cardinal Danilo. Although translation is there, and I think there's another audio is there, but I didn't get it. And you'll see me fumbling with it, with this tape recorder the whole time, trying to see why the little dials weren't doing anything. But speaking with him, you could see Prabhupada, he would go right to the heart of the matter. Cows, right? Killing the cows. And of course, the cardinal, he's making all these excuses, like, everyone needs to live, you have to eat. And Prabhupada's saying, so many things are there you can have. The cow is your mother. The cow is your mother. It was how you can kill the cow. And there were 2 times I was with Srila Prabhupada. I told you, laughing. Sometimes he would laugh and come to the point, slapping is me. But then there were 2 other times I saw Prabhupada where, like this. He was getting like this because he's not liking what he's hearing. I did that beside Prabhupada on an airplane once. My knee was going like this. He said, stop that. Very, very bad. Stop that, he said. I didn't ask him. Didn't ask him why it was bad, but he said, stop that. But I saw him doing it. The only time I saw him doing it, when he could see he was speaking to someone, could not accept, could not understand. But Prabhupada kept driving that point home to this man. Eating it, so many nice things you can eat, he said. But at least the mother cow, you don't eat her. I heard later on that cardinal was found died in a brothel or something. Is that right? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yeah, it was a true story. Yes? Yes. Yes. Yes, that was the cardinal. Cardinal in the church. The other time I saw Prabhupada like that was in Kurukshetra. Imagine Kurukshetra, Dharmakshetra, Kurukshetra, at the very place Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. And they invited Srila Prabhupada there. This was supposed to be like a unification, all the different religions. In India, so many different. You have the Mayavadis, you have the Jains, you have the Punjabis, the Sikhs. Everybody has their own brand, their own philosophy. So the idea was to bring them together in Kurukshetra. And they wanted Prabhupada to come. They weren't interested in his speaking, but they knew he was doing more for Vedic culture than anyone else in the world, spreading Vedic culture around the world. So one person after another is speaking. And of course, we didn't understand. Myself and Brahmananda, we were both there. He was Prabhupada's secretary. And we're all just sitting on chairs together. Prabhupada was there on one side, Brahmananda's on the other side. And as each person speaking, Prabhupada's legs going like this. Didn't like what he was hearing. So finally it got to the end, and they told Prabhupada to make the closing statement. And he did. He closed it. And he gets up there. And it was a short speech for Srila Prabhupada, maybe just 10 minutes or so. And we heard him quoting Bhagavad Gita. It was Kurukshetra. No one else was quoting Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada's quoting Bhagavad Gita. Ham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate sarvadharman prityaja mamekam saranam braja. We didn't understand the Hindi in between, but we could understand the point Srila Prabhupada was making. Krishna says, I'm the source of everything. Surrender to me. Give up all your nonsense, all your varieties of religion. That's what was there, so many varieties. He said, just surrender to me. And then he finished. And everything just started, everybody just started breaking up and leaving. Prabhupada came and sat down beside us. And said, come on, let's go. We got into the ambassador car. It was the car, the ambassador I talked about this morning. Another ambassador car. And the three of us are in the back seat together. And Srila Prabhupada said, so? He said, did you understand what I said? And Brahmananda said, well, we could understand, Prabhupada, you're quoting from Bhagavad Gita. He said, yes. He said, I told them, you'll never find unity. He said, not one person has mentioned Krishna. He said, you're here in Kurukshetra, the place where Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita. He said, no one even mentioned Krishna. I said, all this will be failure. You'll all be a failure. Same thing he would always say about United Nations. In New York City, we drove past the United Nations just last week or so. So many flags. How united after all these years? How is anyone united? Only united we can come together. And that's what he told them at that time. So that was the one thing I saw here. That was in Paris with the cardinal. And then, of course, the deity installation. You've all seen the installation of Sri Sri Radha Parashishwara. Imagine, Prabhupada, he was traveling, installing deities. Just a week or two before, he installed Radha Golokananda in the manor, Bhaktivedanta manor. Then he came here, came to France, and he installed Sri Sri Radha Parishwari. And during the process, we know he went up to Radharani and he saw after the Abhishek ceremony, she had a little freckle. And Prabhupada was rubbing, seeing it come off. Of course, it didn't come off. Most beautiful deities. I told you, one of the reasons I came this way was to stop there. I had never seen them since 1973. I had never been to Paris since 1973. So I was able to go there and take darshan there. The Queen of Paris, Prabhupada said, the Queen of Paris. When he was there at the temple, they wanted Prabhupada to speak. Up on, I believe it was the first floor, there was a little veranda outside. It was like a V-shaped building. There was this veranda outside. So the devotees made an arrangement for Prabhupada to speak from there to everyone who was outside. But they said he could speak. They actually had to get permission from the local government authorities, local authorities. And they told Prabhupada, you could speak, but you can't use a sound system. And Prabhupada laughed. He said, so they're saying I can't speak. He said, otherwise, I can speak and no one will hear. He said, so this is how they do things, he said. Prabhupada knew right away. He said, they're not interested in allowing me to speak. He said, no sound system, no speaker will be there. Now, some of you mentioned today, actually is a special day for me. I'm a year closer. Prabhupada gave me a great benediction back in 1973. Bhaktivedanta manor. So that was like August 1973. And by this time I had been with him 1 year. 1 year. Almost like an anniversary of, was an anniversary. I joined him John Mastami time. 1 year later, it was John Mastami time. Bhaktivedanta Manor. As Prabhu knows, every day giving Srila Prabhupada massage. I told you sandalwood oil on the head. Why? Cool. Prabhupada said you have to keep a cool head. The rest of the body, mustard oil. So I carried in my luggage, part of my luggage, always had a bottle of sandalwood oil, Mysore sandalwood oil. And then I had a bottle, usually 500 ml bottle of mustard oil. So I was the only one carrying mustard oil anywhere in the world with Srila Prabhupada. We never cooked with it. It was only for massage. So as I said at different times, I had been with him for a year. So I knew everything, knew how to massage everything he wanted, his head, where to squeeze, what to do, his legs, his feet, everything. So the one day, if you see been to Bhaktivedanta Manor, so you see a very nice room, big room, hardwood floors. The wood stretched practically from one edge of the room to the other. Very beautiful hardwood floors. And the massage took place on a straw mat. Prabhupada wore gamsha, his cloth. Servant wore gamsha. So I massaged his head with the sandalwood oil. And I put sandalwood or mustard oil in the palm of my hand, rub it together. I'm massaging his back until it goes like this. So then I got up to move to the side. And when I moved to the side, I knocked a bottle of mustard oil over. Prabhupada was so precise about everything. Even during massage, you go to 5 different spots, he would say, put the cap back on the bottle. Everything, every detail. Put the cap back. So of course, I didn't. And the bottle fell over right onto the hardwood floor, nice shiny hardwood floor. Prabhupada, before I could even pick it up, he picked it up, but oil had already spilled out. Hari Sari said the same thing happened to him. Prabhupada was so quick, he picked the bottle up before anything even came out. With me, oil spilled out on the floor. Prabhupada picked it up. And then he shouted and said, "You fool, you'll be intelligent when you're 80. And of course, I didn't laugh. I didn't laugh. He chastised me. And then he said, "Go get a katuri." Outside Prabhupada's room, if you went around the side, right there was a little closet, 1 meter by 2 meters. Not even 1 meter, but 2 meters. That was his kitchen. That's where I had to cook for him. No running water, of course, no. We had a little gas stove we put in there, bucket of water. These are the situations traveling around the world, how I would cook for Prabhupada. I had to be close all the time, very close. So he said, "Go get a katuri. Go get a katuri. Come back." I don't even know if I offered obeisances when I went back. I was so crushed. Prabhupada yelling. So I came in, probably offered obeisances. And he said, "Do as I'm doing." This is another famous instruction you would hear from Prabhupada all the time. Every manager heard that instruction. Just do as I'm doing. So with me, he said, "Do as I'm doing." And he just put his hand down in the oil and started scraping it into the cup. So for the next few minutes, we're both just plopping our hands in the mustard oil on the floor and scraping it into the cup. Doesn't say anything else. And then all the oil was off the floor. Some little shiny spots from where the oil was, but basically all the oil was off. And then he looked at me. He said, "Massage me with that oil." The oil from the floor now. So we say, in English we say, insult to injury. I'm already crushed. Now he's telling me the oil from the floor, massage him with that oil, because you're not going to waste it. I mentioned that the other day. Another very important principle in Krishna consciousness. You asked about respect. This is respect. Everything is Krishna. Everything is Krishna's energy. You don't waste anything. No lights on unnecessarily. No dripping from the faucet unnecessarily. Not brushing your teeth with the water running the whole time. These kind of things. This is what a devotee does. This is respect, understanding. Krishna is the source of everything. Don't waste anything. I massage Prabhupada with that oil. And of course, me with my crooked mind, I never just said, whenever Prabhupada chastised me, I never said, I'm sorry. It won't happen again. And that's multiple times. Those words, I'm sorry, never came out of my mouth. I would always try to think of something else. So the whole rest of the massage, rubbing him, and there's, little fuzzy things in the oil because it came off of the floor. And Prabhupada you see pictures sometimes, Prabhupada would massage. You didn't know his expression. You don't know how he's feeling. You don't know if he's happy, he's sad, he's ecstatic, he's angry, especially when he just has that face. Once a devotee said, oh, Prabhupada, you look very upset here. And looked at a photo of Prabhupada. He said, oh, I was in ecstasy. So you can't assume to know anything about Srila Prabhupada. But I assumed, because the whole room, Prabhupada's room, felt like there was a big dark cloud in it. I was right in the middle of that cloud. And I told you, I never said anything to Prabhupada without thinking about it. Many times, 1, 2, 3, going over what to say. Because whatever you say, there's going to be a response. And then you have to figure out, he might say this, A, B, C, D. So then you need to know what to say for those responses. So anyway, another half hour goes by, and he's just sitting. Doesn't say a word. No one else is coming in the room. No secretaries asking questions. No Sanskrit editors asking questions, reading mail. Just him and I in the room. And it's very quiet, very heavy. At least I thought it was. And then I do his arms, massage his legs, and I get to his lotus feet. And time's running out. He hasn't said anything. But I knew what I wanted to say. You'll be intelligent when you're 80, he said to me. So I'm massaging his feet, and I said, Prabhupada. And he just opened his eyes. He said, I said, thank you. I thought it would take a lot longer for me to become intelligent. And he started laughing and laughing and laughing and laughing. Tears coming out of his eyes and his body shaking, and that was the next time he was slapping his leg. He said, very good, very good. He said, when we were children, he said, if one of our friends did something foolish, we would say that. You'll be intelligent when you're 80. He said, and I've used it on you. I just turned 74 today. I have 6 more years. 6 more years I have to survive. My wife, she's very careful to see what I eat, what I do, that I can remain healthy. I just want to be healthy until I take it very seriously. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if it'll be a gradual thing over the next 6 years or something. So far, I still have no intelligence. So it might just... But I took it as a blessing. And Prabhupada thought that was very good. These things, these didn't upset Prabhupada. He would chastise us, so he just took everything seriously. We took Krishna consciousness seriously, what it meant to be a devotee, every little detail. We say, you say in the West, devil's in the details. You say Krishna's in the details. Krishna consciousness is in the details. You can't miss the details. We have to be very, very careful. So so today, people ask me my favorite pastime. So there's many. They're all favorite pastimes. Anything like Krishna, like Prabhupada said about Krishna, everywhere you bite, it's sweet. With Prabhupada, everywhere, where you're being chastised, where you're being glorified, you get to do your service, whatever it is sweet. So, but for me, I considered it a blessing, and Prabhupada thought that was very, very good. He accepted that. And only thing Prabhupada didn't like, he changed the philosophy he'd given. He saw young men, young women, they would have difficulty following the principles. He accepted that. He understood that. But you don't change his words. You don't change the philosophy. You don't cherry pick the philosophy. Everywhere, Krishna, everywhere. You have to speak all points in Krishna consciousness. As he would say, not just as Rasa Lila. Not just Rasa Lila. Everything Krishna does, wonderful. Everything's enjoyable. So we have a few minutes left. I think we go to about 2 o'clock. If anyone has any comments, questions, corrections. Everyone very quiet. Yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the nectar. So, why did you leave the service? I mean, if it's not personal.
Because Prabhupada was a pure devotee. He had 10 years, 9 years, I think he had maybe 14, 15 servants, some for a few months. Before me was Nanda Kumar. He was like 1.5 years. Harisari was 1.5 years. I did 1.5 years and then another year. Did 1.5 years as a brahmachari. Then after 2 brahmacharis, Nanda Kumar and myself, we had gone. So Prabhupada thought, I'll make sannyasi my servant. Because we left and got married. So sannyasi became his servant. He left after 6 months. We made it 1.5 years. He didn't get married, but his thing, I need to preach. But I can't speak for everyone. I can only speak for myself. But to be with a pure devotee 24 hours a day when you're not a pure devotee, it's not something you can do forever. Not something you can do. You can do it for some time. And what I've seen in myself, and I've seen with others that were left when I was even there, somehow you become offensive, and it can be as simple as you just lose your attention. This is what we've been speaking about. Respect has to do with knowing what you're supposed to do. I'll tell you, I'll end with one story. After I was with Prabhupada for about 1 year, and I was struggling. I told you first time I was with him 16 months. Actually, I joined the temple. I was in New Vrindavan for, actually it was 8 months. Then I went into the road show. That was like an 8-month period. There seemed to be some astrological cycles there. Then I was with Prabhupada for 8 months, and I was struggling. And we came back to Los Angeles after traveling around the world. Came to Los Angeles. And we're on the airplane. And the whole day I was just depressed. I was in Maya. When you say Maya, I was depressed. I was feeling sorry for myself. I'm seeing devotees everywhere and happy, Krishna conscious. Imagine traveling with Prabhupada. Every day is Janmashtami. You have a festival, right? A few times a year. You have Janmashtami, Radhastami, Gaur Purnima. And the rest of the year, you go about your business. Do a little service, read some magazines, maybe you watch a little Netflix. You have, when you're with Prabhupada, every day is festival day. That's wonderful. But what happens every day for months and months and months, and you just want some sense gratification. The body is screaming at you. I remember coming to the temple. This is big deal for regulative principles. No meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. That's like a given. Anyone can follow that, at least most of us. But then after a while you see, it's not so easy controlling your senses. They're easy to control when you don't control them. When you start to control them, and they start yelling at you, really. So anyway, I was struggling, and it hit a climax. We're on the airplane, and I'm already feeling horrible. I'm with Prabhupada, and I didn't know what to do. And then the same thing, the plane touches down, I get the garland, Prabhupada picks a garland and put it on him, and he has us all put garlands on. And we come to the gate in Los Angeles, LAX airport. And at that time, everyone could come to the gate. So even from the airplane, when they open the doors, you can hear the kirtan. People just waiting to see Prabhupada. Some of them have never seen him before. Some of them have seen him in the last 6 months. Everyone's hearing about him every day. And people are coming out. Prabhupada always left a space. My wife was talking about auras. We have an aura that extends a few inches around us. Cows, they have a big aura. Extends a few feet around. That's why they say wonderful, the cows. You associate with the cows, you benefit from their association. So Prabhupada, he didn't just stand behind the person in front of him. He would leave a little space. And the devotees could sense it. So as people were walking out, hundreds of people on the plane, every time there's a little space, you could hear the kirtan become even more intense, thinking Prabhupada could be the next person. And eventually he was. And he comes out onto the gate, into the gate area. Everyone, over 100 devotees, banging drums, 4 or 5 mridungas, so many cartels, and everyone jumping up and down, and chanting, and laughing, and crying, and chanting, and Prabhupada comes out and big smile as he sees all his Vaishnava devotees there. And somehow or other, everyone sees that Prabhupada looks right at them. So I'll tell you, Prabhupada looked right at me, looked right through me. So many ways they would describe it, how Prabhupada looked at them. I'm right behind him. Empty. Empty. And I'm feeling sorry for myself because I was in so much maya, so many things are in my head, and I felt bad. Why don't I feel? They're all so happy, they're all ecstatic. Here I am with them, I don't feel anything. So much love, everyone has so much love for him. I didn't feel it. We go through the airport, I still have this white bag in my hand, I'm right next to him, walking through, kirtan's going on all the way to the car. I don't even know if I chanted along with everyone. We get in the car. We get back to the temple. Now I have service. Have to put everything on his desk, from his white bag, his tilak, his little mirror, letter opener, picture of his Guru Maharaj. So many things I have to do. Unpack the luggage. And it's morning. It's like 10 in the morning. So I got to start preparing his lunch. So I'm busy, but I'm not happy. So then it came, I'm giving him massage. And I'm massaging his back. And I felt so horrible. And these words came out of my mouth. I said, Prabhupada, I said, everyone has so much love for you. I said, I don't feel anything. Imagine I said that to him. Not face to face, face to the back of his head. Why I said it? I'm sure one of the reasons I said it was because I was hoping he would say something to make me feel better. And it was quiet. Whole rest of the massage, just like when I spilled the oil, it was quiet. And I'm in my own hell. And I'm thinking, now I said that to Prabhupada. So now I feel worse. Now I even exposed my misery, my lack of love for him. So massage goes on, finished. Prabhupada gets up. You could see his little footprints there in Los Angeles on the tile floor. He went to bathe. Now I'm very busy to put the clothes out on his bed, his kopin, his dhoti, his kurta, set up his desk so he can put his tilak on nicely. Run back to the kitchen. I have to unload the cooker, joints the vegetables, roll out a chapati. Prabhupada finishes Gayatri. I come in, put the plate down, back and forth. Someone asked me this morning, back and forth, one chapati at a time. Every time you come in, you slide the chapati on his thali. You offer obeisances, you run back, you make another chapati, back and forth until he goes like this. He hasn't said anything to me. Now it's like 2 hours gone by. Then he takes a nap, and then the bell rings. So I go into his room, I offer obeisances. He looked at me. He said, do you like your service? I said, yes, Prabhupada, very much. He said, service is love. He said, they can jump up and down. He said, that's very good. He said, but service is love. He said, just do your service. Everything will be all right. I posted that many years ago when I was writing my book. I had more responses to that one story than anything I had ever written. Who doesn't feel like that sometimes? I have no love. You're doing service. That's how you show love. Feelings, they'll come. Everything will come. That's why we say patience, determination, and enthusiasm. Patience has to be there. We're trying to develop love of Krishna, have a relationship with Krishna, see Krishna face to face, not a cheap thing. When you serve him personally, you're in that position. It's just like you're with Krishna, you're with his pure devotee. Even more valuable than being with Krishna, to serve the pure devotee. So better than serving Krishna, you're serving his devotee. That's what all of us are doing. We're serving Krishna through his pure devotee. You know, to be part of ISKCON. Like Prabhupada said, what did he say about ISKCON? Like England? You know, love it, you know, for better or for worse, you love it. ISKCON. We're in the material world here. There's no perfection here in this place. In Caracas, Venezuela, Prabhupada gave a class. After the class, one young lady used to live in the temple. She moved out. She raised her hand after class. Any questions, Prabhupada? Vidayananda asked any questions. And she said, Prabhupada, I was living in the temple. She said, but everyone in the temple there were in Maya. I left. Prabhupada looked at her. He said, you show me the place where there's no Maya, I'll go there. All the devotees were, Haribol. Then he looked at her. He said, you see the devotees in the temple are in Maya, because you're in Maya. He said, I see everyone serving very nicely in the temple. So this is our business. Who are we? Who am I to find fault in anyone? Bhaktisiddhanta said that. And when I'm honeycombed with faults, how can I find fault in anyone else? And if we do find fault, that's our fault in us that we can see in others. So Krishna consciousness, so joyful process, but it's serious business, very serious business. One has to take to it very, very seriously to be devotee. And we do that, we chant, and we do service. You can chant, chant, chant all you want, but if you don't do anything, what are you showing? Where is that love? We profess love. What kind of love do we have? But again, to answer your question, I can't speak for everyone, but I can tell you, to be with pure devotee 24 hours a day, the analogy is you put the rod in the fire, it becomes hotter, 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 until red hot, no different than fire. Everything you touch will go on fire. But my part of the analogy was, if you're not Krishna conscious, you get burnt by that fire. Everything it touches burns. So to be with Prabhupada, most wonderful thing, most difficult. Many people would tell me, they would read my book and they would say, I thought I'd be Prabhupada's servant. One devotee at Bhaktivedanta Manor, God brother, passed away a long time ago. He said, I was always envious of you, Prabhupada's servant. I should have been Prabhupada's servant. He said, then I read your book. I could have never did what you did. And I could never do what you did. Whatever. What I did was by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. He was my first father. My father died, I was 3 years old. I had no father figure. I told you, I had a mother, Italian Catholic mother, and 2 older sisters. And I could never relate, even I had so many uncles. Both my parents were one of 11 Italian families, big families back then. But I never related to my uncles at all. I just couldn't, that energy, I couldn't relate to it. But when I came with Prabhupada, him I could accept. So he was my father in every way, spiritually, materially. He became my father by his mercy. Okay.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes. Okay. If it's okay with me, yes.
How do I serve Krishna properly with no mistakes?
What was that?
Can you repeat? I'm saying, how will I serve Krishna properly with no mistakes?
How do I serve Krishna and Prabhupada is making no mistake? How we can do that?
How we can do what?
Properly.
How
Yes,
I
sir.
serve Krishna
Properly.
with no problems?
Properly serve him?
Yes.
Without mistake.
Without mistake?
Practice. Everything comes by practice. He's given, Prabhupada would always say, everything's in my books. And then you want to associate with people that you see are following his instructions very nicely. Everything. Prabhupada used to say sometimes, he would use the word most. He would come here and say, they're most beautiful deities. He would go to New York City, most beautiful. He went to London, of course, he said it very loudly, everyone heard, that they're most beautiful deities. And they said, oh, Prabhupada said, our deities are the most beautiful. But he used most in a different way. It didn't mean anything else was less. His servant that left, his sannyasi servant, was one of the reasons he used for leaving. You say preaching is most important. Preaching. He was traveling, preaching. He said, book distribution, most important. He said, should I distribute books, Prabhupada? Prabhupada said, yes, book distribution is is most important. Deity worship is most important. Chanting your rounds is most important. There's no less important in Krishna consciousness. Everything. See, that's what it means, the details. Everything we do, every moment, most important. So how to do that? You have to put yourself in association with those you see doing all these most important things. And of course we know by chanting, Hare Krishna cleanses the mirror, cleanses the mirror in the heart. So it's a process. It takes time. All right. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.